complexity of a large corporate to interact with a small startup of 1 to 3 employees.
Speed and red
What
light
we do
camera
is
in
we try to
200
bridge
meters.
that.
Speed limit is 60
We are an
kilometers
open
per hour.
innovation platform, meaning that both Teva and Philips, our shareholders, have no rights in our projects. This means that a company that joined Sanara can or GE or Medtronic, and they do. They communicate with the entire with the major players in the market. Obviously, Philips and Teva have some kind of a right of first look. They get to know the projects in a very early stage and have a chance to steer the projects into the right direction or into a direction that matches their interests. In terms of the investment itself, I'm explaining this because not to bore you with financials, but because it's an important component of the structure and will help you understand how and why we invest in the projects that we did. The Innovation Authority in Israel provides funding for projects that is very favorable. They provide 85%, between 70 and 85% of the budget of the project for 2 years. The funding is funneled through Sanara, so the money goes into the bank account of the company from Sanara Ventures. Sanara Ventures gets the equity or the shares of the company, not the Innovation Authority. So the government, it's not like in China where the government has a partial ownership of companies. So those companies are completely private, have no government component to it. The equity goes to Sanara Ventures, and the company and the funding is provided as a kind of a loan that has to be returned only if the company is successful. So the loan is returned to the government as royalties from sales. So if the company failed to get to the stage of sales, then the money is lost to the government. And Sanara gets an equity position of somewhere between 20 and 50%. Sometimes it can go even more to higher numbers if it's a project coming from academia. So for an investment of somewhere between $100,000 to $300,000, we get an equity of around 30-40%. And the rest of the funding comes from the government, but there's no equity allocated to the state of Israel. This means that we can take huge chances. We can invest in companies that would never get funding from VCs, that are very risky, and accordingly we can invest in companies that have a huge potential because we can take the risk. In terms of governance, the board of directors of Sanara is composed of 3 representatives from Philips. It's Jan Kimpen, the chief medical officer of Philips, Ran Rubens, probably some of you know him, most of you know him, and Rich Wilmot from Philips Ventures, and then 3 people from Teva Teva. There's also an investment committee that's balanced between Teva and Philips. We also have an advisory board that advises us on whether to accept new specific project, and also help us with guiding our companies. The advisory board is composed of about 25 people from Philips, from both Philips Research and different business groups in Philips, and people from Teva, physicians from all over the world, and venture capitalists also with representation, global representation. This allows us, this advisory board and the frequent discussions that we have with people in Philips and Teva allow us to get a very good notion of what happens in the market. When I worked in a startup, we were very familiar with the competition. We understood that our technology, we did amazing things in innovating, but we had a very vague clue about what's happening in the real world, in hospitals, about pricing, about market education, the complexity of market education. We try to bring the knowledge that corporates have about the market, about prices, relevant prices, the sales cycle, the complexity of selling a specific product, connecting key opinion leaders, all the things that corporates excel at. We try to bridge that and bring that to our companies, to put them in the best position to succeed in their mission to bring a company to the market. And this is a huge challenge for a small startup from Israel. I will try to provide you now with some examples of companies that we have on Sanara portfolio. I think I compiled here a list of 3 companies. The slide that you see here, I'm not sure you can see the head of the slide. The company is called TaylorMed. It's a company that joined Sanara about 3.5 years ago. Actually, by a referral from 2 ladies from Philips, Efrat Shefer and Tamar Shirman, that introduced the company to us. TaylorMed now has a commercial agreement with Philips.
Nói cái gì ấy? Mà cái ông này nói nghe mệt.
Không hiểu đích là gì luôn. Là nó benefit gì cho mình, chả benefit gì mình không cần thông tin hay không, mình chả cần cái thông tin đấy là giới thiệu một vài công ty rồi ai acquire, ai lead, ai thứ làm cái gì, cả tại sao phải cần fund bao nhiêu. Chả hiểu tại sao nó này mấy trăm người invite.
Thế thì chứng tỏ là không cần thiết.
Mấy trăm người tưởng nó nào gì quan trọng đâu mà thôi. phẩm gì mới hay một cái gì đấy, như là cái gì University, nghĩa là kiểu edu về một cái gì đấy, kiểu một cái gì mới. Mãi chả thấy cái gì mới, toàn thấy nói lăng nhăng gì.